You know that specific notification sound your banking app makes? The one that hits your phone right around the 25th of the month?
Oh yeah, the salary received ping. It's a very distinct frequency.
Right, it really is. And it might be the best feeling in the world for about, I don't know, 45 minutes. You see the number, the dopamine hits, and you just think, okay, I'm safe.
The mortgage is covered.
Exactly. Mortgage is covered, car payments are good, kids' tuition is sorted. But then Monday rolls around, you walk into your office, or maybe you just open your laptop at the kitchen table and you look at your calendar.
And it's just a wall of color-coded blocks.
A solid wall of meetings. Meetings about Q3 projections for a product you don't actually care about, with people you don't particularly like. Solving problems that just feel so meaningless, and suddenly that safety from the 25th doesn't really feel like safety anymore.
Right, it starts to feel a lot like a cage.
That is exactly where we are starting our deep dive today. We are looking at the concept of the golden cage. It's that paradox where you are successful by every metric your parents and society taught you. Nice title, corner office, reserved parking, but you feel completely stuck.
And usually the advice you get when you actually complain about this is terrible.
It's the worst.
It falls into two camps, right? Either suck it up, you're lucky to have a job, or the completely reckless quit everything today, burn the boats, and go live in a van.
Both are terrible options for someone with a family and a mortgage. So today we are unpacking a totally different route. We're diving into the Founder's Freedom Blueprint 2025 by Mika Pyhämäki. And I want to be super clear right off the bat. This isn't some get-rich-quick scheme.
Definitely not.
This isn't about buying crypto or flipping houses. This is a technical manual for escaping corporate life without blowing up your bank account.
It really is a fascinating document.
Mhm.
And Pyhämäki creates an interesting bridge here because he isn't, some 20-year-old influencer telling you to drop out of college.
Uh-huh.
He has serious credibility.
Yeah, he's been there.
He's a Finnish, self-made entrepreneur, a former tech executive. He did the high-level corporate grind for years. Sales at top organizations, the whole 9 yards.
So he lived the exact life we're describing to you right now.
He did. And like a lot of people, he hit a wall in 2021, the burnout wall. He actually resigned, sold his belongings in Helsinki, and bought a one-way ticket to Phuket.
Wow.
But, and this is the key here, he didn't just retire to drink coconuts on the beach. He spent that time reverse engineering his career to build a system. He calls it an actionable 8-step roadmap for turning corporate burnout into a scalable €1 million business.
€1 million, that is a very specific number. It's not infinity money, it's freedom money. It's enough to control your time. So what is our mission here today? We are going to break down his roadmap, but I have to ask, usually these business roadmaps start with incorporating your business or buying a domain name. This one starts somewhere else entirely, doesn't it?
It does. It starts with psychology. Step one is the mindset shift. And honestly, this is where most smart corporate people fail. They have the IQ, they have the network, but they have what Pyhämäki calls limiting beliefs.
Which sounds a little bit like therapy speak. Limiting beliefs.
It does sound like that, but think about the narratives we tell ourselves. I'm too old to learn a new tech stack. Or I'm a manager, not a builder. I need a technical co-founder because I can't code.
Right.
These are safety mechanisms. They keep you in the cage because the cage is safe. To break that, he introduces a concept called the triangle of growth potential.
Okay, let's unpack this triangle. What are we looking at?
So imagine a triangle. The first point is the entrepreneur edge. That's the hard skill strategy, finance, understanding P&L, sales. Most corporate leaders already have this. They know how business works.
Check. We've been sitting in those meetings for years.
Exactly.
No.
The second point is artistic creativity.
Which I assume isn't about painting watercolors or taking up pottery.
No, though that's nice too. In this context, it's about innovation. It's the ability to connect with humans, to tell a story, to create a brand vibe. It's the empathy piece. But the third point, the base of the triangle, is spiritual growth.
Okay, you lost me a little there. Are we meditating now?
It's not necessarily religious. It's about knowing your why. In a corporate job, your why is usually because my boss said so, or to make the shareholders happy. When you are a founder, if you don't have a burning purpose, a reason for suffering through the hard parts, the first punch in the face in the market will knock you out.
That makes total sense. You need a fuel source that isn't just external validation.
Precisely. But there's actually a fourth element he wraps around this entire triangle, and this is the one that surprised me the most. He calls it athletic performance.
Wait, so I need to be a CEO, an artist, a monk, and an athlete. This list of requirements is getting pretty long.
It sounds intense, But his argument is highly practical. He calls the modern founder an industrial athlete. He points to examples like Mark Zuckerberg training in MMA or Tony Robbins doing those freezing cold plunges every morning.
I always thought that was just vanity. Rich guys with too much time trying to live forever.
Pyhämäki argues it's actually business infrastructure. Building a business from zero requires an immense amount of cognitive and physical stamina. If you are surviving on caffeine, pizza, and 3 hours of sleep, your decision-making creates debt. If the CEO crashes, the stock crashes.
So it's purely about durability.
Exactly. He suggests starting with an energy audit.
An energy audit. I like the sound of that. It sounds much cleaner than a diet. How does that work?
You literally track your energy, like you track expenses in a spreadsheet. What tasks give you energy? Maybe it's brainstorming or client calls. What drains it? Maybe it's administrative paperwork. Who are the people that drain you? How is your sleep impacting your output? You treat your biology as a business asset that needs to be optimized.
That makes a lot of sense. You wouldn't run a server farm without a cooling system, so don't run your brain without sleep. Okay, so let's say we get fit, we get focused, we find our why. Now, do we quit the job?
Absolutely not.
Huh.
This is the counterintuitive part of the blueprint. He calls it leveraging the corporate advantage.
This is interesting because the standard hustle culture advice is burn the boats, right? Put your back against the wall so you have to succeed.
And Pyhämäki says that is reckless, especially if you have dependents. He frames your corporate job not as a prison, but as your venture capitalist.
Oh, I love that reframe. Your boss is your VC.
Exactly. It provides the seed funding. He advises staying in your role while you build your runway, ideally 12 months of living expenses. But more than just the money, you use the corporate environment to extract value.
Extract value how?
Well, think about it. You're in a building or a Zoom room full of smart people. Build relationships. Your current colleagues could be your future partners. Your current vendors could be your first clients. Use the company's budget to learn new tools. If they offer training on AI or sales, take it. Study how big business operates from the inside.
It's like being a spy in your own organization. You're gathering intel for your own operation while they pay you.
In a way, yes. He outlines 4 transition paths to make this concrete. First, the side hustle, where you grow the business on nights and weekends until the income matches your salary. Second, the MVP and investment route, where you build a prototype specifically to get outside funding so you can quit.
That's the classic Silicon Valley route.
Right. Then there's save for the big bang, which is pure savings. You just live on rice and beans until you have 2 years of cash, then quit cold turkey. And finally, carving out a team.
What's that one?
That's where you eventually leave, but you take a few high performers from your current company with you to start the new venture.
That one sounds a little dangerous. Legal, sure, but bold.
It happens all the time. But the point is, you have options. You don't just have to jump off a cliff. But eventually, you do need a product. And this brings us to what I think is the most significant technical shift in the last 2 years.
Let me guess. In the old days, if I had a business idea but I couldn't code, I was stuck. I had to go find a tech person to build it for me, and I'd probably have to give them half the company.
Right, or you'd have to pay an agency 50 grand to build a basic app. Pyhämäki says those days are dead. He introduces the concept of vibe coding.
Vibe coding. It sounds like a Spotify playlist for programmers, but it's actually a really powerful concept.
It is. It refers to using AI tools to build software, even without a tech background. He points to tools like Cursor, Replit, or Lovable. These aren't just simple chatbots. They are full development environments where you describe what you want in plain English. That's the vibe. And the AI writes the actual syntax and code.
So, just to be clear, for you listening right now, I can sit down and type, I want an app that tracks supply chain logistics for coffee beans with a blue login button and a dashboard that shows inventory, and it just builds it.
Essentially, yes. You iterate with it. It builds the first version. You look at it and say, change the button to green, or add a feature where I can export to PDF, and it executes. This means a non-technical founder can build an MVP, a minimum viable product, in weeks, not years.
That completely demolishes the I'm not technical excuse we talked about earlier. The barrier to entry has basically collapsed.
It completely levels the playing field. But here's the trap, and Pyhämäki is very clear on this. Just because you can build it doesn't mean anyone wants it.
Ah, the field of dreams fallacy. If you build it, they will come.
And usually they don't. You end up with a beautiful app that 0 people use. This is where he introduces a very strict rule, the 100-person rule. You must speak to 100 people who fit your ideal customer profile, your ICP. You can't just guess. You have to get out there. LinkedIn, industry events, cold calls, and actually talk to 100 potential buyers.
That sounds exhausting and honestly terrifying for a lot of introverted corporate types who are used to hiding behind email.
It is the ultimate filter. If you can't do this, you don't have a business. You have a hobby. And he gives specific metrics for what product market fit actually looks like. It's not just people thought it was cool.
Cool doesn't pay the bills.
Exactly. You know you have fit when 20% of those prospects, so 20 out of 100 actually want to buy. They are asking for the contract.
That's a high bar, a 20% conversion rate.
It is. And looking further down the line, you want an 80% renewal rate and 80% of customers willing to recommend you. If you aren't hitting those numbers, you don't have fit yet, and you shouldn't be trying to scale. You go back to the drawing board.
There's another term he uses here regarding fit that I found really interesting, product market founder fit.
Yes, this is often overlooked. It asks, are you the right person to lead this?
Right. It's not just about the market wanting the thing. It's about whether you are the credible source for it.
Exactly. If you spend 15 years in pharmaceutical sales, you have a massive advantage building a tool for pharma reps. You speak the jargon, you know the regulations, you know the pain. If you try to build a teenage dating app or a TikTok competitor...
You're going to look like that meme. How do you do, fellow kids?
Precisely. Stick to what you know.
Yeah.
Use your corporate history as leverage. That is your founder fit.
Okay, so we have the mindset, we have the runway, we have a validated product built with vibe coding. Now we need to grow. And this brings us to what might be the most uncomfortable part for a lot of corporate people sales.
Specifically, founder-led sales.
This is the shift from being a corporate ghost, the person who just lurks on LinkedIn and likes their boss's post, to a founder creator.
And for many, this is terrifying. He calls it the cringe factor.
Embrace the cringe.
You really have to. He argues that LinkedIn is the non-negotiable platform here. We are talking about 1.2 billion business-minded users. If you are selling B2B, that is where your money is. But you can't just post press releases.
Right, nobody reads those. We are thrilled to announce delete.
Exactly. You have to treat your profile page like a landing page, not a CV. It shouldn't say, I did this for this company. It should say, I helped these people solve this problem. And then you have to post 3 to 5 times a week.
That is a lot of posting. What are we supposed to be writing about?
The problems you're solving.
Oh.
Educational content. But he emphasizes authenticity. He points to Justin Welsh as the benchmark here.
The guy who basically invented the solopreneur category on LinkedIn.
Right. Welsh left a high-paying executive job and started writing about leaving his high-paying executive job. He built a massive following, not by being perfect, but by being useful and transparent. Pyhämäki argues that people buy from people. Raw stories beat corporate polish every time. If you stutter in a video, leave it in. If you failed at a project, write about the failure.
It's funny, we crave that authenticity as consumers, but we're so afraid to show it ourselves, we think we need to look like a Fortune 500 company.
But you're not. And that's your advantage. You're a human. Be a human.
So you're posting, you're selling, you're embracing the cringe, but you are still just one person. How do you scale this without working 20 hours a day? Because the whole point was to escape the grind, not create a worse one.
This is where we get to growth lever number 2, AI-first systems. Pyhämäki calls AI the co-founder that never sleeps.
I love that. It doesn't ask for equity and it doesn't take coffee breaks.
And he goes way beyond the generic use ChatGPT advice. He breaks down a specific toolkit for scaling without bloating your headcount.
Walk us through the stack. What are we using?
Okay, so for strategy, content, and vibe checks, he uses ChatGPT and Grok.
Grok is the one on X, right?
Yes. He finds it particularly good for real-time market sentiment. Then for the heavy lifting, writing detailed business plans, coding complex features, he swears by Claude.
I use Claude. It feels a bit more nuanced than the others.
It really is.
Yeah.
Then for the creative side, he recommends 11 Labs for voiceovers or podcasts.
And Runway for video.
Right, Runway for video generation.
Yeah.
And then a tool called OneMind for managing sales pipelines. The payoff here is that you can automate operations. You can have a sales pipeline that nurtures leads, content going out across platforms, and code being written, all while you're essentially operating with a tiny team.
That's the dream. It allows a team of 1 or 2 to look and operate like a mid-market firm. You're punching way above your weight class.
Exactly. But eventually, even with AI, you hit a ceiling.
Yeah, and that's the final stage of the blueprint scaling team and time. You move from solopreneur, which gets you to maybe 100K or 300K, to a leveraged solopreneur, and finally to CEO hitting that million mark. And that means hiring.
But hiring is a nightmare. It's slow, it's expensive, and if you pick the wrong person, it can kill a small company.
Which is why I loved his strategy here, the cohort method.
This is brilliant. Instead of hiring one salesperson, you hire multiple people for the same role simultaneously.
My budget just groaned. Why multiple at once?
Think about the data. If you hire one person and they fail, you don't know why. Is your product bad? Is your training bad? Or is the person just bad? You have no control group.
Ah, right. It's a scientific experiment.
Exactly. If you hire 3 and 1 succeeds while 2 fail, you know the product works and you just need better selection or training. Plus, it fosters healthy competition. They learn from each other. It accelerates the onboarding process massively.
It totally de-risks the most risky part of scaling.
And the ultimate goal of all of this, the cohorts, the AI, the energy audits, is to build an org chart where the business runs without the founder's daily operational effort.
That is the definition of freedom. It's not just having money, it's having the time to actually enjoy it.
And that brings us right back to the golden cage.
Mhm.
The cage is comfortable because it's predictable. You know what happens on Tuesday at 9 a.m.? Freedom is messy.
Freedom is messy, but it's yours. So let's quickly recap this journey because there are a lot of moving parts.
Sure. We start with a mindset shift, becoming an industrial athlete and doing that energy audit. Fix the engine before you drive the car.
Then, leverage the corporate advantage. Don't quit. Use your job to fund your runway and build your network.
Then you design and validate. Use vibe coding to build your MVP fast, and use the 100-person rule to ensure people actually want it.
Next, turn on the founder-led sales engine on LinkedIn, embracing the cringe and supercharge it with AI tools like Claude and 11 Labs.
And finally, scale by hiring cohorts and stepping into the CEO role, removing yourself from the day-to-day grind.
It sounds so linear when we say it like that, but we know it's a zigzag in real life.
Yeah.
However, having a map makes the mess a lot easier to navigate.
It does. And I think the most provocative question this blueprint raises for you listening right now,
What's that?
if you are sitting in that corner office or even just at a decent desk, and you have the skills to make millions of dollars for a corporation, if you can manage their P&L, lead their teams, and sell their products, what is actually stopping you from doing it for yourself?
Oof, that is the question. Is it skill? Or is it just the story you're telling yourself about safety?
Usually it's the story. We overestimate the safety of the corporate job, which can disappear in one round of layoffs, and we overestimate the risk of entrepreneurship, especially now with tools like AI to lower the barrier.
That's a great point. The risk isn't what it used to be. The door to the cage might actually be unlocked, you just haven't pushed on it.
The only real risk left is looking back in 10 years and realizing you stayed in the cage just because it was comfortable.
Well, if you are feeling that itch, maybe start small. Do that energy audit. Take a look at your sleep, your inputs, your outputs. You can't launch a rocket from a swamp.
Start with the energy. The rest will follow. And think about what you could do if you weren't spending all that energy on someone else's dream. What if you just took 10% of that corporate drive and pointed it at your own life?
That is something to chew on. That's the Founder's Freedom Blueprint 2025 by Mika Pyhämäki. It's a wake-up call and a manual, all in one. Thanks for diving in with us today.
My pleasure.
And to you listening, go check your energy levels. Your freedom numbers might be closer than you think. Catch you on the next deep dive.